what's not looking good in the Asian markets is the Hong Kong index. So that one is down 1.5%.
People are looking to Asia as sort of a safe haven.
Today, BOFA has downgraded the stock to neutral from buy, and they've cut the target price to 1320 versus 1500 earlier.
Sensex is up about 100. Mid-cap index is very, very quiet. The bank nifty isn't moving.
I think this earnings expectation of 18%, 19% for 24 is too aggressive.
This follows the spate of resignations that we saw between August and February this year.
The market is extremely choppy in a very tight and narrow range, so it's not an easy market to trade.
Banks will necessarily have to give a hearing to the borrower before any action is taken.
Cello is the company that we're talking about. What we've been given to understand is that the company is looking to come out with an IPO.
Sun Pharma has said that the ransomware attack resulted in a breach of certain file systems, theft of certain company as well as personal data.
The high that we touched today was 17,061. So right now we are just at that 17,003 mark.
Okay, it's a good-looking screen. It's a Monday afternoon. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Closing Bell. I'm Prashant. Reema Surabhi with me in the studios here. Nigel joins us, as always, from the newsroom floor. 140 points as we begin another edition of Closing Bell. The only thing I can say is that let's hope the gains stick, because so far today it's been so volatile, up and down, over and over again. But in the beginning of the last hour of trade, it's looking a little better. 17,083 is where we find ourselves at. Let me just quickly run you through a few things before we kind of get into discussions, etc. Which means, given the rally that we have, we are at the day's highest point. That's number one. Where is the bulk of this gain coming from? It is coming from Reliance Industries, which single-handedly is contributing about 40 index points. Then you've got a combination of Infosys and TCS, and you've got a combination of HDFC Bank and Kotak Bank. These are basically the 4 or 5 areas where the bulk of this 0.75% move on the Nifty is emerging from. Overall market breadth, advanced decline is still deeply negative, and that is something which kind of stands out, right? Because you've got the Nifty, which is jumping, but the overall market is actually sulking. And the gap has not narrowed even as the Nifty has made a move higher. Asia was subdued earlier. Europe is doing better. But, mind you, Europe, of course, sold off aggressively on Friday, even as US was okay. So there is a bit of a pullback in Europe, which is there. The Euro Stoxx 50, the last I checked, was up about 0.75%. And on the way up, if you want to just track levels, the level to watch is 17,207. Which was the recent swing high from where the markets fell. So, that is not very far away. It's about 130 or 140 odd points away. But that's the first resistance for the Nifty on the way up. Reema.
Well, it suddenly feels like there is a spring in the steps of the markets in the last 1 hour or so, as the Nifty is now inching towards 17,100. Yeah. To take forward the rates in the European markets, currently the CAC, DAX and the FTSE are up close to about 0.7, 0.8% now. And even some of the beleaguered banks like Deutsche Bank had sold off aggressively on Friday. But today, Deutsche Bank has opened and rebounded with a gain of about 4 to 5 odd percent. So some nervousness surrounding the global banks appears to have ebbed for now, with the deal being struck between First Citizen and SVB. If you pull up the individual sectoral gainers, the top Nifty sectoral mover and the gainer today is the Pharma Index. That's up 1.5%. Remember, it's rebounding from its 52-week lowest that it hit last week. IT is having a good session. That's up close to about 0.8%. Metals are doing well. Banks have started moving up in the last 1 hour or so. If you pull up that Nifty intraday bank, you would see that big up move coming through over there too.
Oh, yes, absolutely. On pharma, I just want to make a point. In fact, Ekta and I were discussing this in a lot of detail on our digital offering, Who Moved the Market. And it's clear that there's no fresh news flow, but it's just that money has started moving. Look at the underperformance of the pharma index. Just to keep things in context, last 1 year, the pharma index is down almost 12%. The Nifty is flat. 1 year, I'm not saying year to date. Year to date, both are almost parallel. But this is a value destruction that we've seen on this side of the market in the last 1 year, whereas the Nifty is much better off. So some sort of a tactical shift is what seems to be happening, plus a couple of positive brokerage notes, some positive regulatory reactions coming in from the US FDA and the UK regulators. So all that's helping. We'll talk a lot about pharma as we go forward. I just want to mention banks once again. Now, Nifty Bank is still underperforming the rest of the market in terms of, if you compare it to the Nifty. I think we'll watch out for Nifty Bank. Let's get the Nifty Bank up. Now, this index is just about 130 points away from the 200 DMA. Let's see if we can build on some momentum and if the bank index can take out that level to at least begin with. But Nigel, as Prashant said, I think there'll be no complaints from the bulls camp. Finally seeing decent momentum, at least for the time being, in the market.
Well, that's right, Surabhi, and Reliance Industries, that's the one that's been leading the way from the word go itself. So Reliance Industries holding one end up, and just till an hour or so ago, the Nifty Bank, it is unable to sustain at high levels. Now we're up close to 200, 250 points odd. The hope is we go ahead and we touch the 200 DMA. That comes in at around 39,750, very, very approximately. So we're a good 120 points away from those levels. But the Nifty Bank, every time we're seeing a bit of a pop, it's getting sold into. The broader markets, though, are in pain. We're just looking at the headline index and we'll say, well, we're having a green day. Take a look at the small cap index. It was down 1.6% in Friday's trading session. Today as well, it's down 1.1%. So portfolios will not be feeling very, very good because the small cap index is seeing intense selling pressure. The option data is indicating that we have an expiry that's going to play out. And the positioning is such that the 16,850 level will not break on the downside. However, at higher levels, going by the kind of writing we're seeing at the calls, that 17,150 will become a bit of a resistance zone. So let's see how this goes. But for the time being, we're holding in the green the Nifty Bank. That holds the key. If it can get to 200 DMA, well, we'll see a quick spurt on the upside. Otherwise, we could languish at these levels itself. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Nigel, for that.